Hello, everyone, and welcome to When Things Go Wrong, webinar brought to you by Zion Publishers. My name is Josephine Chiruto, and I am excited to be your moderator today. On set today, I have Catherine Cheche, who is a director and founder of Ajira Yangu, and Rene Murage, who is an experienced project manager. And with the theme for this session today is when things fall apart, understanding failure and finding your footing. Today we are creating a space for a conversation where many people don't indulge in but rarely have open conversation around disappointment, failures, resilience, rebuilding, and the courage to begin when life don't seem to go as planned. In a world where success is more celebrated and highly loudly, many people silently carry seasons where fallen they've fallen apart emotionally, physically, mentally, professionally, spiritually, and personally. Our goal for this session is not just to talk about failure, but to understand how people rise from it, learn from it, and have a footing again. Now that we're here, I would like to kindly request to have your mic muted on unless allowed to speak. And in the cases where you have a question to note, then please channel it to the chat box, and we'll have open flow for comments and questions. Meanwhile, please chat what you're learning and during the discussion. And if you have someone who really needs to hear this session of failure and get to learn from it, please share the link to the meeting and let them join in the conversation. Thank you so much for your cooperation. I would like to welcome Mr. Dosso, the publishing director, Zion Publishers, to let us know what is when things go wrong and what was the force behind it. Welcome, Mr. Dosso.
Well, thank you so very much, Josephine. I'm so excited to be here today, and I'm so excited to see the panel of speakers that we have here today. I'm so eager to learn from them now that I have had an opportunity to glance a bit on what they have written in the book that we are going to be launching very soon. So today I came with a notebook and a pen to learn, to be inspired, to be challenged, and hopefully to be provoked so that from this place I can go back with a new fire. My name is Dosso Radido, as has been said, director, Downpal Publishers. And I just want to take a minute or two to explain to us what is the spirit behind this whole project. So, like Josephine has said, we are now finding ourselves in a very complex terrain. The world has changed very, very much, and things are feeling different, looking different, and moving differently today. These days, if you have an opportunity to maintain status quo for more than 1 year, then you must count yourself very, very lucky, because the rate of change is so fast and is so huge, because change is now coming from every direction, from people, from machines, from the environment that we live in. A lot of times, things don't go the way we have planned. Actually, if you listen to the stories of so many people, looks like everybody is coming from an experience where something went wrong, is going wrong, or is about to go wrong. So things going wrong has now become a norm. And because of this, those who are able to navigate this very, very challenging situation, or even to thrive in it, are the ones who are going to dominate the days we live in and even the coming future. And because of that, we have come to a place where there is necessity to learn how to survive when things go wrong, or how to thrive environments that are threatening to make things go wrong, even when you have all the plans in place, all the prayer in place, and all the faith in place, and sometimes all the community around you in place, because disruptions can touch all those facets of life and make things to go wrong. The strong ones will be alive to see tomorrow. The weak ones will be swept off their feet, and now they will be part of the statistics. So we gather here today so that we are not counted among the statistics, but among those who will be alive and doing well in the coming days. So when things go wrong is a project that brought together women leaders who have had an experience with things going wrong and have been able to survive it and cash on it or capitalize on it, and therefore coming together to bring their voices and their insights, their lessons, their experiences, to be able to teach us and show us the strategies of how to deal with this, and how to survive it, and even how to use it as a platform to launch into bigger and better things. This webinar is part of the project, and it's one of those very, very important conversations that are happening in the month of May, in this week, so that we have been waiting for this moment for a very long time now, and I thank God that it has finally come. The panelists that are joining us today, as I've said, are part of those voices that came together to write a book that sheds light on what to do when things go wrong. So those of you who are joining us in this call, and those who will watch this conversation online, my challenge to you is that you pay a keen attention, because we are about to listen to people who have survived ordeals. And for me, survivor survivor accounts or survivor testimonies, they test like medicine, because they are showing you that you can also live through this thing, you can survive it, and you can smile again even after things have gone wrong. So I want to welcome all of you, and I'm hoping that you enjoy this conversation, because I am ready to enjoy it. Thank you so much, and back to you, Josephine.
Thank you so much, Mr. Duso, for that brief highlight of what the book is all about. As I move right in, let me introduce our amazing panelists for the day and co-authors of the book, When Things Go Wrong. Let me start with Rene Murage. Please briefly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Josephine, for that, and Mr. Doso for that introduction of the book. And thank you for having me. And even to our listeners, thank you for leaving things and coming to listen to us. I pray that it will be worthwhile, you being here with us. So who am I? Let me introduce myself. My name is Rene Wangechi Murage. Many call me Rene, so I know today they will be so shocked of the name change, but the real name is Rene. And I know my siblings might be somewhere here, so they will report it back to my mother that I used the right name. And I am here, and I am grateful to be here. I am a technical program manager. What does that mean? I deal with engineers, especially software developers, in developing solutions, in doing technical infrastructure, like laying out data cables, bringing fixed data into your homes, and setting up base stations where you are able to call and send SMSs. So that is what I am professionally. In addition to that, I'm also a vendor manager and a budgeting lead in one of these companies, where I look at cost management. I ensure that cost is being looked at. So I am a good negotiator to some extent. And so I ensure that we are within our budgeted cost, and we try as much as possible to look for effective ways to save money. That is professionally. Spiritually, I'm a child of God. I love Jesus. I am a firm believer of Jesus Christ, and I am a lover of God. And I know that I am a child of God. Other things that you may need to know about me is that I love cats. I was brought up by a cat. That's what I usually say, because my mother used to leave me with a cat and go back to work. In that season when I was in nursery school and in class 1 to class 3, we used to leave school at around midday. So you would find me, my mother would come for lunchtime, ensure I am fed, but go back to work, leaving me with my cat and milk. That is the best she could do. So I was brought up by a cat. Anyway, I really love cats. And what is it in this book that I have done? I have written the first chapter of the book, which is called The Value of Reflecting on Failure and Setback for Personal Growth. And that bit is just about looking back. When you fail, you look back. When you fail, you trudge on. When you fail, you look for options. When you fail, you don't stay where you are, but you dust yourself and you try again. That is my chapter. Key insights that I've gotten from the book, which I would want all of you to grab, is I have looked at an insight from a builder's perspective, because many are the failures that builders, for anyone who has built a house, they know, even if you're not the builder yourself, you're the financier, you know that things go wrong very fast in a house. I have looked at the insights around COVID-19, which made the world stand still and made us rethink of our lives. I've also looked at lessons from the Bible. I've given an insight around the four lepers, which is a story that I really love from the Bible, because those are people who never allowed their failure or the failure that was around them stop them from going to look for food. And finally, I have looked at my personal and professional work. Great insights for project managers in the house of how I went through my failed projects, because projects do fail also. And personally, I also failed. So I've given some insights on that. So that's it from me. And thank you for coming to the session.
Thank you so much, Reen, for that highlight of what you've written in your book. As we move to Catherine Cheche, please let me have you introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Josephine and Rene, for that wonderful introduction, and Mr. Dosso for having created this. We just supporters of a vision that someone envisioned in this season, as he has said, with the title, and we said yes. And thank you everyone who have joined us this evening. We really appreciate you honoring this invite and being here. My name is Catherine Cheche, the founder and the CEO of Ajira Yangu Initiative. We are based in Kenya, and I work with women in the construction sector. Those are the artisan women, the fundis women. Those are your painters, your plumbers. And I want to see more of them in the industry. In a nutshell, I want you, when you walk into a construction site, you won't struggle to see a woman. And if you see one, it's not the cleaner, it's not the uji mama, or it's not the mostly it's the OSH officers, the occupational health officers mostly. But I want you to find that carpenter being a woman, a painter doing the flooring, the tiling, and all that. And we see many of them graduate, but we don't know where they transit to. So we want to ensure that that transition happens, and we can see many of them. Aside from that, I am born again. I'm a mother, and I have been recognized by being awarded for the impact work I do. And I am happy to be here. I'm part of the journey of making When Things Go Wrong come through the book. And I am the author of chapter 2. You go to chapter 2, you'll see Catherine Cheche, Failure, Formation, and Courage to Move On. And today I would want to highlight on the part to move on. When you're in the mixture of things going wrong, it is hard to see your way out. It is hard to even imagine the season can even get better. All of us have found ourselves in a web of confusion when things go wrong. Maybe you are going through a very challenging and difficult season, maybe through illness, or it is through divorce, or your business is not working, or there's something you're trying and you can't find your way out. We are talking about all those things when they go wrong. How do you find the courage to move out of the situation and step up to the next level? Encouragement is the worst is still yet. There are days when falling down as a kid, you were running, you fell down, you felt like the world is over, or you could not feed yourself properly and you made a mess around your feeding table. So many things, or you failed an exam in primary school. Right now, you are a graduate, you have a job. So a paper right now, look, you're like, why was I even crying over CRE in class 5? So even the situation that will look like a mountain, one day it will still look like a hill. Remember that before the enemy confuses you with all the negative thoughts and you feel like this is the end. It's never the end. The word of God tells us God always creates a step out for us. So remember that it is not the end. You will step out and finding the right motivation. It can be trying to find small wins. In the book, I've talked about a season when I felt things were falling apart. Being a mother of 2 at that time, toddlers, below 5, both of them, and I was at home and nothing felt like it was moving. So I decided, let me try and find small wins that could motivate me back into feeling I can win. I started a journey to losing weight. I wish I had come up with a picture. Niwaonyesha the before and the after, and you could see the transformation. But that small step made me realize, yeah, actually, you can still win. And that mindset shifted. Yeah, before I get so much excited talking about this, I want to hand it over back to Josephine.
Thank you so much, Rene and Catherine, for that amazing introduction of yourselves. We have people joining us already in the room. I know you've already gotten a peek of what's gonna happen in the session today. You're all welcome. As I said before, if you have a comment to put on our session as we go on, please remember to channel it on the chat box, comment it. But for now, thumbs up, please. Thumbs up for the attendees in the room. We need to see your presence. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate.
Josephine, you have muted yourself.
Sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me of the same. Thank you, everybody, for the thumbs up. Kelly, I see you over there. Evelyn, thank you very much. As we move into our main conversation of today, before I dive deeper into the conversation, I want us to start from a personal place. Things falling apart. It can mean very different things depending on life experiences. So, Reem, maybe we can start with you. What does this phrase personally mean to you? And why do you think it resonates deeply with people today?
Thank you, Josephine, for that question. So where I come from, of course, I'll start professionally, is you have a goal, you have an intended goal, and you have defined your outcomes. But then if you don't meet that goal or you don't achieve your outcome, then that is failure. It is falling short of the expectation. You needed an amount of money, but you have fallen short of some amount. And the truth is, humans, we fail every day. Like the way you wake up in the morning, you even have a list of items to do for the day, but by the end of the when you come back in the evening, maybe you've not even checked even one of it. We fall short even as mothers. Huh? It can be a big thing where you don't have the money or you had a project, it failed, and it can be simple things. Like the other day, I cooked in my house, and I'm a lover of pepper to some extent, not to that very large extent, but to some extent, I enjoy my pepper. So I found myself putting just one. I've cut it and I've put it in the stew. And of course, people in my house were not impressed. So I was told, you made us drink water, you made us cough. So I was like, you need to be drinking water at this rate because I enjoy my pepper. But that is a bit of failure where the expectation was to cook food that would be enjoyed by everyone. But eventually, nobody, it was only me who enjoyed. The rest, there was complaint, even though the food was good, but there was complaint from here to Timbuktu. But that is the little bit about failure that happens. So there is the big things that fail, but there is also the small things that can fail. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Reen, uh, for highlighting the things fall apart in your life. I know most of us have such experience. I'm sure you guys in our comments today, I've seen our attendees are laughing at your story of the pepper. I'm like, yeah, they're just like, you just had to put so much pepper because you love. Yes, so as we move on to Catherine, I would love to know the same experience. What does the phrase when things fall apart means to you, and how does that resonate to people today?
For me, and thank you, Josephine and Rene, that was funny. Making people drink water. If I was in your house, it couldn't have been a good day. I don't even love even a tiny bit of pepper, not at all. Zero pepper. But that's how we sometimes reflect failure personally. And to sometimes it can even be small things like even waking up. You had set an alarm, said, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. But you end up snoozing that alarm up to 7 and you rush. You rush to work, you get to work late and you're beating yourself. You're like, I thought I told myself I will not fail at this again and all those things. And it happens in many, many ways, small and big, the way she has explained. But for me, the one I vividly remember is when I tried to do agriculture. Immediately after I finished my university, I had tried entrepreneurship in the university. So I knew when I came out here, I want to be an entrepreneur. And you start from the known to unknown. Before you head to other things, you start from where you know. I grew up around small scale farmers in Nyandarua who do cut fresh flowers. So that was my first landing place. Without knowledge of how capital intensive that business can be, how involving, how engaging, I decided, you know what, you guys have not even been doing it right. I'm registering a company. I'm making sure I'm even exporting. You know, I'm getting everything right. But that was not the case. I'm laughing because there is a day I watched a whole produce go to waste. Like, you don't know where to take it. It's ripe. And you know, flowers can't wait. You can't harvest them and say, they will wait for a month for me to. No, they have a very short window. The expiry date is close. So you are like, well, what do I do with this? You can't decorate your house enough with all the flowers you have planted. You go to the farm and make sure every day you are coming with bunches, donating to friends, but still you can't exhaust all of them. And it was a huge failure because it was capital intensive. And at that point, you keep asking yourself, what am I even doing with this and all that? But I stuck through. It was 2019. Then COVID came immediately after trying to figure out the path. Now you know how to go about it. Now COVID hit. No flights, nothing. Another whole produce went down. And you're like, now, how do I even pick up from here? And at that time, I started doing online classes, all those things during COVID, trying to just motivate myself. Then 2021, I'm like, no, it's not yet over. Let me now do the local sales. And that one is also another lessons learned. I make a joke to people who try businesses that I know will end up. I don't know. I'm not prophesying doom, but you can tell the process and say this one will fail. And I'm like, I'm just waiting for you on this end with a notebook for lessons learned, because these ones for sure will be lessons learned. So at that point, it was lessons learned. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I think that's, yeah, I think for most business people who've started their businesses, they us- they've had like not the business picking up, and we can resonate with you with what you've told us about the flower business, that you thought it was gonna work out, you had planned for it, but you had not foreseen what was not gonna work for you. So I'm seeing our audience laughing at that. I'll also love to see some of their comments on the same. Please tell us about your scenarios. We'll also love to read them as we go on. Thank you. I think many people also discover that failure affects more than circumstances. So it can affect your confidence, it can affect your identity, and even how people see future. So can I have you tell us, Rene? Let's go back to you. Tell me how one season in your life when you had failures, when things genuinely fell apart in your life, and what did you pick from that season personally?
Thank you, Josephine. My professional life. Let me start there with my professional life, where I'm a good project manager. I say, if you give me a project today, I will do it with my eyes closed. I know where to start, how to execute it, and how to finish. I am those people. And I've been in this environment for a long time. So I have learned, I have done many types of projects. Yes. But there is a time in my life when I was supposed to certify myself as a project manager. There is a certification that we call project management professional. And I thought I knew it. I thought it was a walkover. And I went to the exam the first time and I came with a fail. I could not understand it. By the way, I could not even, even though I don't think I could even explain how I felt. So I told myself, maybe it's because you chest thumped yourself. So take time and read, because of course, the first time you go through the notes, because you know everything, you already know the process, you know from where to where. So I went the second time. Second time, it was still a fail. That is failing 2 times. If you come to your professional world and you tell people that you have failed, they will be shocked because they think that you are the best project manager they have ever dealt with. So I actually did not understand why I was failing. So what did I do? I was ready. I told myself I'll try the third time. But now for the third time, I will look back at where I failed. What is it that I failed? So I went online. Luckily, online now we have questions that look like the questions that come in the exam. So I went and looked for such questions and I did them. Of course, the first time in the test run, I still failed. And so I went, luckily now you have the questions and the answers and the reason as to why you failed. So I came across that the answers, because they are ABCD questions, all answers are correct, but you're supposed to choose the best answer for that particular scenario. Of course, me, I was choosing what I do, which in most cases, it's not the best scenario, because you do as you should, based on the circumstances you have. So I learned that I was doing it the wrong way. So I prepared for the third session, and now I went. But even I was preparing, I was telling myself, Wangechi, if you fail the third time, please hang your boots and accept and move on. So that is what I discovered. Actually, it revealed that to me, that I am those people who can still try again. I am those people who are persistent in trying again, but I'm also those people who can decide it is okay. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am ready to move on, accept and moving on. So I am those people. So I can accept and move on very fast. That it's never that serious with life. So I don't take things that seriously. Even though on one end I will take them seriously, but on the other end, if they fail and fail and fail, then I will accept and I will move on, and I will not beat myself up. No, 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 no. I will move on to something else. And then I have a different eye of looking at it is not straightforward. Now I know it is not straightforward. It is not going this way just because you have been doing it practically. You need to look at it from an organizational perspective, from an international, a global perspective. What are other project managers doing in your field that you yourself you're not doing? Because most of the time when you are doing the projects, I don't think we apply the global standards. We apply the standards of where you are at. And we say Vituka ground ni different. So you apply the standards of the things on the ground. So that is exactly that. But that professional exam needed me to look at a global scale, not just look at where I am at. So that is what I learned from my experience.
Thank you so much, Rene. That was quite a learning session for you. I know most people in have experienced the same, where they've had the worst fall apart moment in their life, and we've had on our very fast question. Emily commented, "Business can be quite humbling," from the Catherine scenario of the flower export. Thank you so much, Emily, for engaging with us. Keep the engagement coming. You see, now we have Rin giving us his experience of his worst life failure point, of where he had to repeat exams so many times. I know it can be, you get the frustrations. Yes. So as we move to Catherine, sorry. Catherine, you, Catherine, what was the season in your life where things genuinely fell apart, and what that season revealed about you personally?
Thank you so much. I'm laughing all through as Renee is giving her example on how she failed in that exam. And I'm like, I think most of us exams have humbled us in one way or another. Yeah? I remember there's a time I did receipt on receipt and and the third one was still a 50-50 chance. It's the one you do the exam and really pray it's a D. So you just get moved on with it because it's a tough one for you. You know those things that refuse to enter your head was those ones for me. But indeed, understanding that season and not personalizing it and saying, you know what, I'm gonna keep trying. I love the way every time you had to figure out why am I failing this? Because you didn't just go back blindly. You went back like why until you figured out actually, not that I'm not good, but I'm not just aligning. And that was a good one. For me was a season still in around school. That was in high school. But for me, I can't say per se it's failure from my end, but it is when expectation don't match up what you had in line with your life. I come from the village, and having gone through public system to a national school was pure hard work and God's grace, really God helping you through. And I knew that the path would just continue the same, like from primary to high school, nailing it, university, becoming a doctor. No, I never became one. My name is still very naked. But at that time in Form 2, I fell ill. Something that up to date I can't explain what was happening or what was going on. But it was like a bad one. I had to be out of school for a very, very long time, almost a year. So most of the time I would be home, in and out of hospital. And one thing, looking back, actually, I was reflecting back on that season recently when in our family, we got someone who is a cancer patient right now. And I was trying to figure out when that season was there, what was going on. And one thing that I remember is that my faith was really anchored on God in that season. I knew no matter what, this one will pass and I will be victorious and I can't focus on it. I remember I used to go back to school even when I'm sick. Like I'm unwell, I tell my mother I'm just tired of staying home before we wait for the next appointment. Let me go back to school. You know, I'll keep in touch in case it comes bad. You receive a call from the school as on our way to the hospital. So you just know I'm going back. And I passed through by the deputy's office and I'm like, just allow me to be around. I'm aware I'll see the nurse morning, evening, so that you are sure I'm okay. Nothing happens to me at school. But in case I am aware anything I'm feeling is not within what I already know, I'll alert the school. And there was a hospital nearby, they would have taken me. So it was not out of ignorance, but I felt tired. And I didn't want to own that season at all. I knew my goal was still to score very well. So even in that hardship, I would still read, and it was a headache that couldn't go. So my head was aching, like painfully. I'm sweating because of pain and I'm holding my physics book. I can't let it go. And I'm like, you know what? Physics and pain, you have to go together. And sometimes another friend, a desk mate, would ask me, Cheche, how much do you love reading? If it was me, I could have stayed at home forever until I am 100% well. But I was like, no, you know what? I'm not owning this. This is not who I am. And I'm overcoming. Like I took it as just a passing by season and I will overcome. And one thing that season taught me is when things are really falling apart, putting your mind so much on what is happening, if it's sickness, if it's a business failing, like always putting your mind into it, sometimes do you so worse and so bad, such that it paralyzes your whole life and even the people around you. You see, by me allowing myself even to go back to school, I would encourage my mother that I'm not that bad. You know, a kid who is accepting to go to school should be like, yeah, maybe it's not that bad. But imagine if I stayed in bed all through. I had all the reasons. Should have been hopeless, like my kid is going, you know. But now I'm trying to read, I'm trying to go back to school. She's encouraged. Yeah, actually, we are going to overcome this. So even you, even as I remind myself many times, there are many times I've gone back to this mentally, telling myself, you know what, you can't focus on this now. Because even I may use that example I've just given you. The person who is ill is my uncle. And even for him, because he's not in so much pain, he has refused to own the sickness. He even goes to work as normal. He goes to chemo, he just misses work that day, like 2 days when he's going for that, and then continually work. And even when going for hospital checkups and all that, the doctors are like, where is the patient? And he's like, I'm the patient. They're like, what? You are the patient? Whatever we are seeing on the sheets and you can't match up. But for him, he has said, you know what? We have prayed for this. I believe I'm well, and I'm going to act and live like things are okay. And I think it is working, because he recently went for a checkup and he's being told it's like 95% gone. And we were excited and thanking God because he refused to own it up. So even in any season, when you refuse to own up that failure, like don't indulge yourself so much in that season. You know, hey, I'm telling you, things can be dark. And you wonder, how am I even going to get out? Just look for that tiny light and focus on that. And I know somehow you find a way of overcoming. I think that's what that season taught me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Catherine. That was quite a lesson to pick from your downfall. And people are actually resonating with you. And Jen is speaking an awesome. She's saying, awesome, don't own the sickness. Yes, we are glad. We are sorry that it happened to you at the time. Sickness is like the worst thing. I also hate sickness, to be honest. I usually go to the doctor in advance to just be like, I think I'm going to be sick tomorrow, please. I don't want to be sick. But we are glad that you overcame it and you learned so many lessons. I love the resilience that you had. And for the previous comment, I don't want to pass Purity. She stated that for her, the first time that she failed her exam was a moment of things falling apart, because everyone around her really valued excelling. But as Rin said, not to personalize and try again with intention. I like it that we are actually grasping this powerful conversation and it's resonating with each and everyone. As we move to our second segment of this theme of today, we are focusing on understanding failure. One thing, one thing of this, one thing that you've mentioned from your chapters is that of your life is that failure is not just about losing something; it's also about analyzing it, interpreting it, and getting the perspective and response to it. So, to Rin, why do you think people internalize failure so deeply instead of viewing it as a growth or a learning point?
Even before I answer that question, I am so encouraged with what Catherine has said and that story of not owning. It is a faith journey. That is so much faith. when Jesus said about having a faith like a mustard seed, that is so big a faith, even it's not a mustard seed. It's so big a faith. And more grace to you and even to your family, even as you deal with it. And I know that it will be well. Now to the question. Why do people internalize? Why do we? Let me put myself inside there. Why do we internalize failure? Because I've been there deeply instead of viewing it as part of our growth and learning. It's because failure is discouraging. It is so, I don't know how to even describe it, because it makes you look damn stupid. It's like you have never gone to school. You never think. It's like you didn't even put in the work in the first place. And maybe you had done analysis. You had even done a proof of concept. You had tested it. It had worked in the small scale. And then when you go large scale, it does not work. It does not work. And then it comes out that you failed. And people, of course, society will give you a run for your money. I was saying yesterday, I think we were having this conversation, and I was saying that when I got my son, because I got him when I was very young, I, I of course, society talked. I was in campus. I was at the beginning of campus, and of course, the society will say that that is the end of her. She will not achieve anything. And in my mind, I took it in my mind. And yes, I went back to school because my parents were willing to support me to go back to school. But in my head, I was telling myself, anyway, even if I go back to school and I finish, I'll just come back in this village. And the best I can be is a teacher, because my dad was a teacher. So the best I can be is a teacher, because of course he will connect me with the schools. I will get maybe those primary schools that need graduates to teach, and so on and so forth. That was how limited my mind was, because I was so discouraged by whatever had happened. I didn't know. If you ask me then if I would be here now, I would tell you no. I was not seeing the now. I was not seeing and because I'm a Christian, I did not see what God had envisioned then, that even that failure in that particular time, it was him creating a new path for me to go out, go back to school, find many other people whom you have never met. For us who come from the village, the best you have met is from the best people you have met is the people of your tribe. If anything, if there is even any other tribe that is living around you, they still speak Kikuyu. I am Kikuyu. So they speak Kikuyu. So you don't even differentiate whether they are from this tribe or that tribe. But when now you go to campus, that's when you find many other tribes in there. And you find that they think differently. They have different ideologies. They even have some values that you have, some values which you do not have, but there is a place where you meet and you exchange ideas and you even become more brighter. So failure makes you limit yourself, put yourself in a certain box that you will not get yourself out there to try again. You will not get yourself out there to leap on the next opportunity that is available. You'll tell yourself, oh, I failed, so why should I even try again? But if you choose not to allow failure to limit you and put you in a box, then you will jump in the next opportunity, and maybe you will try in that opportunity and you will still fail. But that will not limit you from trying again in a different opportunity. So that is why most of us, that is why failure makes us not even look at personal growth. You can never grow because you remain in the same state. Yeah.
It just reminded me of the very common phrase that people usually use I come from a poor family, so I don't think we're gonna be anything. And the phrase that is always used to encourage people is, you don't have to be defined by your background, by your where you come from. You can make something big out of yourself. So it's still something about failure. Maybe Catherine can add a point or two on what Rain just said.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And most of the time when we fail, it's like our world crapples in. Like you feel this is it. Like the way Rini is saying, I'm even my mind is gone back to her village. I'm imagining she comes from Muranga. I don't know. I can see those hills and I'm like, what? And yeah, when you see
I
hills,
come from Nyeri. I come from Nyeri.
at least I got the analogy of hills. Yeah, and you're like, now from where can I go beyond this? You know, it's it's that bad. And I'm trying to see, as I'm trying also to remember a scenario in the Bible when the children of Israel were being led through the wilderness. They had succeeded to get out of Egypt. That was a heavy slavery for like 400 years. It's a long time. Kids who were born that time had become grandparents, like generations had, and God delivered them. Now they come to exactly where God wants to position them, and God has told them, this is your promised land. See, this is Canaan. And they go to spy. They forget everything, what God has done, and all what they can see, giants. They're like, how are we going to take this when giants are in this land? And Caleb and Joshua, they're like, no, guys, remember, if God promised, then this is it. He knows how, and He knows the way of how we are going to fight this. So at a point of failure, I think you just see giants. You don't even see God's promise. You don't even see anything better. You don't even see support. You just see giants. You're like, hey, my world is over. Yeah.
The doubting is too much. Discouraging can be a source of failure. Uh, to the to Catherine, before you go, this question is targeted at you. The fear of failure. You've mentioned in your book you used to be, number one all through your life, and then all of a sudden you dropped, and there was that phase of shame, criticism, and comparison, pressure to always be successful. So, how does that shame shapes people's relationship with failure? And how can people begin separating mistakes from identity?
Thank you, Josephine. That's actually deep. And if we are able to separate failure from ourselves, see it as an event and not as an identity, is when you're able to rise and not be ashamed. As you have said, that season, yeah, it happened. Let me put people into context. It was in class 8. I was always number one, two, three. And this particular exam, I don't know what had happened. I up to date don't know. And then the whole school is seated, the way you're being paraded. Those of us who come from those schools know. The whole school is seated, your names are called, you all stand from number one to last, making that line, and people can see. And now the teachers stand, make comments, and it was not a good system. It was based on shaming people, which is not okay. And that day, I was now the one being shamed. Imagine people being called number one, all the lower primary kids shout your name, Catherine Wangechi. You are not number one. So they wait. Number two, they say your name. Number three, number four, they reach number five. Now they start booing. They're like, who. And up to number 11, you can imagine. And I don't know why I didn't even cry. I don't know, because I stood there. The teachers came, added salt, pepper on that shame. said everything. But going home, my mom told me, this is not you. I don't know what has happened today or with this particular exam. And let's not even dwell to interrogate what happened, because this is not you. Your position is not this one. And I know you are a smart girl, and this is just a hiccup. At that point, helping me separate myself from that failure event to owning it as an identity was a powerful way. I don't even know where he got that. She got that wisdom. But God helped her to talk to me in that manner. And most of the time, even in our adult life, we don't know how to separate ourselves from such. Maybe you have parented a kid up to teenage. They are turning out something you never imagined. They are talking back, they are doing everything. And you want to name yourself, I'm a bad parent. No, maybe you have one who is good and one who is becoming a challenge. But you want to focus on you being a bad parent, forgetting all circumstances and everything. So learning to make sure that you don't identify yourself with the failure. See it as an event. Imagine you are this good public speaker. You are known, you are the best MC, you stand before people, you talk, you're eloquent. But this fateful day, you stand on that stage, you look at people and freeze. You freeze, words can't come out. I've ever found myself in such a scenario. I think I reached a point, I'm like, you know what? Guys, just take it as it is. My voice will shake all through. You see, then you try to breathe in, breathe out to make sure your voice comes. It refused. It was shaking. I was the interruptions with, I don't know what had made me so scared. And I was just talking about my business. It was a presentation about my business, something I do every day. But looking at the audience, I was so scared to explain it. Like people even started pitying me because I'm really suffering standing before them. But when I left that event, I was like, you know what? I know I'm courageous. I know I can still stand before people. That was just that day. It's a bad day in office. We soldier on nevertheless. So learning every time that failure is an event is not my identity. When I fail at this, doesn't mean I'm not a good entrepreneur. Doesn't mean I'm not a good public speaker. It doesn't mean I am dumb. All those things you can imagine. I'm not smart enough. No, it's just that day, things didn't go as planned. When you always have that in mind, separate failure event with your identity, it always works. The shame just in a way melts. Because even after that presentation, very bad, terribly done, I was able to still network after the event, like nothing happened. Talk to people, laugh. And I'm like, yeah, I hope you heard what I said because I don't know if I was even audible. Please check my website for more information, And people laughed through. They were like, we even didn't know why you were scared. Talking through it, not being ashamed, it really helps separate yourself. Take failure as an event. It's not your identity.
That was quite motivating. I hope our audience on the chat are picking something. I don't see anything yet. I said we need to be commenting, right? I need to be seeing something for me to read it out. Yeah, so it's okay for us to fail sometimes. It's not a must for you to win at everything. So you can go for that presentation and you're shaking and it's not just your day. Don't beat yourself up. Tomorrow stand up and you'll be the best. The best, just like Catherine. She did it. So maybe Rin, you can also tell us something about shame in your story and criticism. And
Um, Yes,
yes.
I actually wanted to add the bit about shame. It really discourages someone. my son is now a young adult, but when he was in high school, he used to fail mathematics, especially in Form 1 and Form 2. Of course, I'm a strict parent. By the way, me, I'm a strict parent. So we will fight. So what we will do is that I would give him some sums when they come for holiday. And I love mathematics. So I would find my way to also mark those 5 that I have given him. Of course, he will do it with mchezo, as usual. And so we would fight. By the way, we would fight such that even my siblings told me I'm too harsh. But there is one thing I remember telling him. I told him that I know why I am fighting you is because I know how brilliant you are, how good you are in this mathematics. If it was Kiswahili, I would not even care, because that one, even me, I failed. And even him, I knew he was struggling with the languages. But anything science, I knew he was very, very good with it. So I would still fight him. So I told him, I am fighting you because I know mathematics, you are really good. And I will not allow you to fail just because of your mchezo or you just being a joker in this field. So we continued, of course, with my strictness and us fighting and us becoming friends and becoming enemies. We agreed to disagree. But eventually, when he came home with his KCSE, he had an A. I was shocked. Even when I sent the results to my dad, he was like, so he was capable of having this. You can imagine what shame would have told him. If I had told him that you don't even understand anything, you are you cannot achieve anything in this world, blah blah blah. No, I still used my strictness, yes, but I still encouraged him. And I also remembered my mom. At times when we could lie, she would tell us, she would beat us, and she would tell us, I am beating the lie. I am not beating you, I am beating the lie. So in most cases, then you would not lie because you will be beaten. And when you are beaten, it is the lie being beaten. So you end up not lying. Yeah. So shame, it's good to encourage our people. Yeah.
I like that you were the best mom to your son. You must be proud, because having someone to always remind you of your capabilities, top notch. So as I read through the comments that they are adding to what we're discussing about at the moment, Lilian Washira, she is also a co-author of the Bold Move book. She's saying failure is an event. It has a start and a stop. We totally agree with you, Lilian, on that. Purity is saying take failures as an event, not my identity. We have Ida also. She has a brilliant comment here. She's saying, indeed, failure is an event and not one's identity. We need to separate the event from identity. I like that. Need to teach that to my children. Point taken. I hope that we are happy that you are inspiring our audience today. Remember that we are also live on YouTube. Please comment also on our YouTube page at Zion Pal Publishers on YouTube. To Rene, this question is for you. Sometimes failure become one of life's greatest teachers. Although painful, it can be very transformative. So, what are some lessons failure will teach you that success could never teach you?
Thank you, Josephine, for that question. I have so many responses to that, but I'll only stick to three that I think are very important. The first one is that it teaches us to appreciate more. When you fail, you will appreciate, especially as a parent. Let me give you an example. As a parent, if you fail as a parent, you will appreciate how your parents were also failing then. When you used to think, your parents are not doing enough for you. And then when you come now to parenting your children, and you yourself you fail, then you will tend to appreciate more. You will tend to appreciate that bit that you have. If you don't fail, by the way, you will never appreciate. If you success going on, you will never appreciate anyway, because we forget to fast. By the way, we forget to fast and we move on to the next problem that we have. We do not see the successes. Successes that it doesn't stay on, it doesn't linger, but failure lingers. It stays with you, so you appreciate it more, and you, because you will learn from it, then you'll appreciate. Now the next, when you make a step even to the next one after you have failed, the way I failed my PMP, the first time, the second time, but then the third time I did a step, I appreciated it more. Had I passed in the first time, I would have just thumbed myself and told myself, oh, I'm that project manager who is brilliant and all that. But now it made me even appreciate God more, because he made me look back at what I was doing and why I was failing. Number two is that failure teaches us to trend carefully and be good stewards. Be good, take care of the things that you have, because if you have not failed, then you will not take care of things. And I usually give an example with the car owners. If you have a car and somebody borrows you a car, or if you have a matatu, let me give you an example of that matatu. The owner of that matatu would drive it differently than the driver who is given or who is employed to drive. Why? Because the owner went through the pain of sourcing for this matatu. They know the pain of maybe looking for money, never getting the money, asking for a loan, never getting a loan, taking care of this matatu, taking it to the garage, and so on and so forth. They know the pain. But the driver, because their work is, they have been employed, is take the car in the morning, drive it, get customers, and then return it in the evening. They don't care about whether the garage, who takes it to the garage. If it fails, if they are even caught by the police, you are called. You, who is the owner, you are called. So you are the one who handles that failure. So you will be able to trend carefully and be very good stewards. Look around the Indian families who have, and how they have achieved it is that Indian families take their children when they are young, when they're building these businesses, when they are failing, because most of the time businesses will fail here and there, but they will work with their children from the time that they are young. So they will see their parents failing, coming up from debt, building their businesses and moving forward. But we, the Africans, I don't think we have gotten there yet. I pray that we get there one day, but we have not gotten there yet. So we don't take our children along. So you go hustle, you come in the evening, you're so tired, you don't even tell your family what you have been doing the whole day. You go with your problems to sleep. When you build an empire, they will think that you walked on water like Peter did, and you gained the empire. You did not gain that empire. You walked into deep trenches for you to get there. And the day you die, if you have not instilled those disciplines in your children, then they will squander all the money that you have used to make the business into an empire. So it is you going through failure, falling, rising up, falling again, rising up, that you know, I need to take care of whatever I have. Even your children, they will know how to take care of what you have. Yeah. And then the third thing is that it gives you, failure will always make you very innovative. Very innovative. You will not do the same thing you did yesterday. Today you will try something else, something different. You will even go seeking for help, looking for help out there. You will do what? You will do research. You will say, even let me start small instead of going large scale. You will learn to be very innovative in the things that you do. So that is what failure teaches you. But success is you won't even look back. You'll be, see, I did it yesterday and it worked. I'll do it again. And then today, if you fail, you'll be like, that's when now you will look back and start being very motivative. So those are the three key things. Failure teaches you that success does not. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Reen, for that. What I've picked from what you've said is failure will teach you to be very appreciative. It will also teach you to take care of things because you know the seasons in your life that you went through to accumulate wherever success you have at hand. And I hope our audience is picking that. And we have a comment from YouTube who has tuned in and they're saying that, well done, ladies, very insightful session. Thank you very much. That is the Wellness Circle. And Jen Kerubo is also adding to a point saying failure will make you innovative. Yes, 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 we are agreeing with you that. So I'd like Catherine maybe to say something also on what failure teaches us that success does not.
I think those are powerful lessons we can draw from failure. And even the wisdom of learning from failure is what matters. And there's someone, can't remember who was saying in the business world, if I remember, I'll comment in the YouTube so people can see later, was saying he can't invest in a business for someone who have never failed. Like all your business you've done, you have succeeded, he can't invest in you because he knows failure is still yet to come. And when it does, that's when you really learn the right lessons that you need even as a person. Even in the Bible, James tells us, read the book of James, says, consider it pure joy when you go through tests because you come out as pure gold. I'm not saying we will jump up and down at that time. Remember, it is failure. It's painful at that point. It is bad. It is not comfortable. But deep down, trying to appreciate it as a way of making, because without it, you can't become. And just know from that failure, you've just graduated to a higher level. You can't fail today, the way Rene is saying, she failed in one test, then expect to fail like in another. Somehow you find yourself building. If you failed starting opening a shop, trust you me, one day you will fail with a multi-billion business if you keep it consistent. And failing with a multi-million business means you fail one day in a billion business. I believe many billionaires we see around, at one point of their lives, they were bankrupt. Most of them tell a story when everything went and I had to start all over again. Even someone like Robert Kiyosaki, you read his book, he says there's a time he went bankrupt. And it happens. When that happens is when you draw the right lessons. So when you fail, don't beat yourself so hard. Try to say, yeah, I know I'm being built to become better. I know that point you can't, but to some extent, try to look inward with a different attitude, with a different mindset. You see, the way you want to call yourself for a meeting and you analyze all the bad things happening to you, throw in a good attitude that I'm being promoted through this test and I'll become better and I'll become stronger and I will use this journey as a testimony to encourage someone. If your life is not full of hiccups here and there, your history can't be beautiful. So every time you go through something, you're just like, yeah, I'm just building my life to be beautiful. And I think growing up, I had that statement from, again, my mother. I think she really encouraged me to face failure in a different way. And in my book, there is a place I talk about how failure forms, the formation of failure in our mindset. And it is learned because as a kid, kids don't know failure. They learn it as we see them grow. They fall down, learning to walk, you encourage them. But at age 3, 4, they fall down, you lift them up with some kiboko. Watch out where you are going. You're already making them learn they are failing, and in some ways, the way we speak to them. So at this scenario, I think when we were facing so many challenges growing up, my mother would encourage us and tell us, my children, we are just making our history rich. Like when we want to tell our story, it will be beautiful because it is full of these lessons, hiccups, and all that. You can't learn really from someone who just had a very successful life. You'll be bored. But someone who will tell you, there's a day I was bankrupt, you will adjust your chair to hear that story. Tell us, how did you rise? And you see, so understanding that failure is a way to learn and appreciate it as a school, a school where you are learning things, I think you will draw as many lessons as possible. Even Solomon did that. When he was writing Ecclesiastes, it was lessons learned. It was like life is vanity. Like he was just trying to tell us, yeah, this one, like he had seen it all. You see, when writing Songs of Solomon was young age, having it all that, for him, wisdom was not experiential wisdom. It was just given. So when he's coming to write the book of Ecclesiastes, now it was experiential wisdom. It was like, you know what? Serve God in your youth, because he had failed terribly in his youth, squandering everything and all that. So take failure as I'm in a school of learning, my friend. When I come out, I'll be better.
Indeed, that's very insightful. Take failure as a school, it's a whole school. So I'd like to read some comments from Emily. Emily is telling us that humility that comes with failure reconnects us to the source, and that it is not by our might and strength. Thank you, Emily, for that. And Kerubo is also very appreciative of the session and is very glad that he gets to hear this from Rene and Catherine. And she's saying that both of you have courage, and I like the fact that you really tried again. So thank you for that. Thank you, Rene, for highlighting a school of life. And to Catherine, this question is for you. And in today's world, comparison can make failure feel even heavier. So, how can people avoid comparing their journeys with others, especially during seasons where they feel left behind in life? This happens a lot. Maybe you can tell us.
Yeah, nowadays it's actually amplified. Growing up, it was just your neighbor. You could watch them, they have maybe a new cow. They have built a new structure, they have just repaired their fence. Those were the comparisons, or their children have just started the private school, and but nowadays it's even higher. You are in social media, everyday celebrities are putting their lives out there, positioning perfect couples. If you're not matching, my friend, you're not perfect. If you're not traveling right, left, center, I don't know, your life is a miss. And all those comparisons have some way getting into us to see life through that lens. But when you decide to define your own success, like what does success mean to me? What is success to me? That won't matter. It's not the perfect Instagram pictures that you will take all over the world. It's not a well polished LinkedIn profile with so many activities, but it is a life that I have decided and chosen an identity for my success, mostly based on what God says, and also what you as an individual, you feel this is what success means to me. Maybe for you as a mother, success means raising godly children who will become impactful in their own generation. That is your own success. So someone buying a new Prado today would not shake you because you are here to manifest your success. You see where I'm coming from. But if you don't define your success, people buy new cars, my friend, you'll be parking yours there at the far end field down there when everyone is going the right parking. You're like, can I park at neighbor's place? And when everyone is leaving, you leave the last one or hurriedly before someone's, because you are comparing yourself. But when you define your own success, maybe to you, success means how many lives have I transformed in my life? If today my life ends, how many people will say because of me, they think different? Because of me, their lives are different. Because of me, their children went to school. Because of what I did, their families were never the same or their careers were never the same. If that's what success means to you, that says even when people are going to every corner of the world just for leisure, it won't really bother you because that's not your definition of success. It could be their definition of success, that if I travel throughout the world, then I'm successful. And it's not wrong. Get me right. I'm not saying doing all those things, it's wrong. No, what I'm saying is for you to avoid falling and clambering into this aspect of comparison, which is actually a killer for our joy. It's a killer for many things. You will not have peace, my friend. You will disturb and ruin everyone's joy because you're pushing everyone to go to the studio, parade them so that you can take the perfect family photos, matching everything. And maybe your family is not even interested. So everyone will be forcing a smile in that studio because you saw your friend do it. You get me? So getting to identify what does actually success mean to me. And when you get that definition right, it will help you. Is success for me learning? When I'm learning something new, it means I'm growing and I'm successful in my own terms. If I'm becoming something, like you can see the projection maybe of your career. You started here as a project officer. Now you are the CEO. Now you are this. Now you own this. That's success for you. If you feel, for me, success is just growing spiritually. I was maybe praying for 1 hour. Now I can do 3 hours. I can concentrate. I can tarry in the presence of God. That doesn't even shout. It's closet time, nowadays, even closet time, hashtag closet time, it loses the meaning. It was supposed to be closet time. So if your success is that closet time being more, it can't scream. How can that scream? To be quiet, but inside you will know I'm actually becoming better because you have actually defined what is my success, what is my form of success. And even in the season of becoming that, you'll be patient with the journey because so long as I'm taking the right steps, I can see the path. Sometimes it's uncertain towards the things. There are so many madagodania. You think you are going right, you move left. I'm telling you, life can never be straight. It's, hey, you start this, you start a business. I even at some point found myself employed. That's how life can be, madagodania. This entrepreneur was very serious entrepreneur. I was, you know what? Maybe I'm not built an entrepreneur. Let me try employment. And I went back for a whole year. And let me tell you, I was miserable as an employee. Yeah, that's when I knew I was not cut for this. But in that season, I learned. In that season, I grew. In that season is actually my purpose was born, what I do with Ajira. And I was like, it was just God leading me to those steps. What if I took that step as a failure, because as an entrepreneur, the people we started business with when I was starting Cheche Flowers, their business now had big offices. You visit them, you're like, oh, mine never even left the house. It failed before it was anything. It was still a briefcase company, and it failed then, And you visit their offices and you're just admiring. You're like, where? See, some people are chiseled. And then you tell them, I've gone back to them, and the look they give you at the employment to do what, But it is life of becoming and building. When you understand your own journey, I think life will become more interesting, and you will view different seasons with a lot of understanding.
Well, that was quite. I know most of us are guilty of comparing ourselves. I have not seen anyone stating when they compared themselves. We have so many scenarios. I cannot even start with mine because let me just keep it a secret. So I like how we have a comment here by Jane Kerubo. She's saying, I totally agree with you, Catherine, that people should define their own success, and you should look forward to defining your why more than comparing yourself. I like that. I totally like that. Maybe to you, Reen, you can also tell us your season in life where you've seen comparison and why do people do that? The comparing nature of us
I-
human
I'll
beings. Yeah.
I'll give a story. I hope it will bring out the comparison. But I know a man who loved education, and I know it might cause some tears on this. Yeah, but I know a man who loved education. To an extent, he educated his children, all his children, ensured that they were equipped and well equipped. He loved education to that extent that the villagers, he used to coach the children in the village, mentor them. He is the one man who used to know about bursaries. For us, we don't even know about CDF, but he used to know when they are being approved, when you are supposed to take your form to be filled, to be approved by the school, and then you return it back. That man did so well in education and coaching, but at some point, when almost we can say he was at the peak of enjoying life, he has educated all his children, so he should be now enjoying the fruit of his labor. He dies. What does that mean? Of course, to us who are left, we think, oh, it is failure. It is, he did not achieve those expectations, because in our expectation, in our thinking, is that he should now have enjoyed the fruit of his labor. He should have sat down and sitting pretty and enjoying your children's bringing back the fruits of what you have done. But we forget that the difference between what we define as our success and what even God defines as our success, they are two different things, unless you are aligned. To him, if he was alive, I would have wanted to ask him, did you know that was your purpose? Because we now know, we who are alive, we now know that his purpose was education, ensuring his children are educated, ensuring the village is educated, ensuring he planted a seed. It is a principle in the Bible about planting a seed, being fruitful, multiplying, replenishing, right? And subdue. It was actually the what Adam was given, the what he was given to go and do. That you go, you be fruitful, you multiply, you replenish, and then you subdue it. This man planted a seed. Maybe he enjoyed the fruits kidogo, but he has not seen it multiplying. And maybe he saw it multiply kidogo, but to us who sit here, we think it is failure. But for him, he achieved his part. So if we are comparing, and starting to look at, oh, he did not achieve, yet to God, he did his part. And that chapter is closed. Then now it is the children that he educated that they go and multiply, because now that is the next step. So most of us look at failure. We don't even see that you have made a step. We call it failure and we lock it there. But this man made a step that was going to multiply, replenish, and subdue. Education is now in that village. People are now educated because of this man. Grandchildren will be educated, and many other generation who appreciate the education, they will be educated because of this one man. But if we want to compare, we will say, oh, he did not achieve much, but he achieved so much, such that if you are to look at your life, maybe you will never even fit in those shoes that he did, because he planted a seed that is now being fruitful and it's multiplying. Yeah.
I would like to applaud that man. I think he was a whole legendary. He did what anyone else will not have done. Now everyone can go to school. Now there is the other part of success of what he did, and you know, comparison is not the key here. It's about the what you bring to the table, and what he brought to the table is he made the entire village learn that education was key. Enough of what we've talked about in the aspect of understand learning about failure. Now we step into finding your footing again. So when things fall apart, the next challenge becomes how do I rebuild? How do I move forward from this failure? So Rin, to you, what does a healthy recovery after failure actually looks like emotionally, mentally, and practically?
Rene, we can't hear you.
Sorry. I had not drawn my mic. Sorry about that. So emotionally, when you rise up, because this is rising up from where you are failed, then your emotional, you will feel you are acknowledging the failure without judgment. You will not look at failure you'll not even judge yourself, because you are recovering. So you will say it has happened the way Catherine was saying. For her, you wake up the next morning. She doesn't even remember what she was doing yesterday and how she failed yesterday, and you move on with life. That is acceptance. So you will look at being very accepting of the things and not judging where you went from. You reduce the burden on your emotions, and you become a very positive minded. You looking forward. You build resilience. That is a healthy recovery. You become so strong that if something hits you again, you are like, it happened yesterday and I am fine. So you will be so strong to move forward. That is emotionally. Mentally, of course, you reflect. You sit down, you look back, and that is my chapter dwells on reflecting, looking back, taking lessons, seeing where you went wrong, not accepting the definition that has been defined to you as society. If I had accepted being defined as society when I got my child, I would have never gone back to college. I would have stayed there, taken care of my child, and maybe even done many other bad things in that village. But I accepted my failure. I reflected and I went back to college. At that time, I was very young. Even I didn't know about reflecting. I was just doing what of course my parents were pushing me to go back to school and ensuring me that there was no opportunity. The man I talked about, by the way, is my father. So when I got my child, even when I was young, I was very young. That man did not give me an opportunity. The options I was given was Are you going back to school with your child or without your child? Those were the opportunities I was given. I was not given the opportunity, oh, are you staying now at home? You get married. No, no, no. I was not being given those opportunities. I was being told, are you going back to school with your child or without your child? We'll take care of your child. So they were giving me that opportunity. So it is about reflecting. That is mentally. And then now practically, practicals is you have you plan forward. In my book, I've written about a failed project. There is a project that really failed. It did not go really well, and it had so much money. There was so much money that had been pumped into. We could not even move forward. It was not bringing money, because in business, you invest in something so that it brings you money. In this case, we were investing a lot of money, but we were not getting anything. We were getting kidogo, but it was not enough as defined. The expected outcome was not enough. So we could not continue pumping money. So we had to sit down and plan forward. Now, when I was brought is when the project had already failed. They didn't know how to progress. And so we sat down and looked forward. We planned forward. We said, now it has failed in this use case. Can we try it in a different use case? Can we organize ourselves to have decisions made? Can we give the bosses options on how to utilize these materials that we have already bought, but we won't use it in this project anymore? So it has to go to another project. So those are the things that now you sit down and you plan. How do you utilize these materials that you bought and still make money somewhere else? Or how do you close a project that is already sunk? It has a sunk cost. So money has already gone in, but nothing is coming out. So you make those decisions. You give those decisions to your leadership for them to make those decisions. It's about looking forward with deliberate actions. You don't sit down and just say, I will move forward, but you don't have a checkbox where you say, this one I've done, this one I've done, so that you start making steps moving forward. Yeah, that's what I would say.
We are picking that failure involves when you want to pick up your footing again, you have to reflect on what went wrong, make better decision based on what you reflected, and think better on way forward. I like that. So, Catherine, I think many people struggle between reflecting on failures and becoming trapped in it. So, how can someone tell the difference between healing from that failure and remaining emotionally stuck on it?
But I think that's a common situation. And I had even seen a question earlier when we were starting around the same. Someone asking, how do we avoid, I think it was among the first comments, how do we avoid being emotionally stuck in that season of failure? Most of the time is just avoid building castles in that season. Don't pick a stone of, I am a failure, you lay the first stone. My parent had said so, you lay another one. Even my brother didn't believe this marriage would work, put another one. Then all those things you're telling yourself, you're just building that house of, this can't be done, I can't get out of here. And you lock yourself in that emotional entanglement that I am here to stay. But as I said earlier, try to look for small wins, even in that season, to help you unstuck yourself in that season. Because some of them are bad. Like some situations are wrong, like they really go wrong. I don't know, their intensity. Others go wrong kidogo, but others, it is that terribly wrong. And you're wondering, will I ever even rise from here? There's a time King David was being chased by Saul in the wilderness. We know after being anointed, he expected the throne, but he got the caves, the wilderness, as a journey of making. It was just God making him. And one time he went to defend, I think it was the Philistine king, and they fought. They won the battle, but they had left the wives and the children at a village where they were being hosted. Coming back, they found that the enemy had come from another direction, picked everyone, and burnt the village. Like they had nothing. Imagine coming from a war, victory, you have nothing. People turned against David so badly that they wanted to even kill him. This is what David did. If you read that chapter, it says, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. There is that part of it is you to encourage yourself. Some situations, even the closest people to you will not understand. You'll be lonely even when surrounded. No one will understand what you're feeling, how to help you. Words won't make sense. I don't know if you found yourself in that situation where even encouragement sound like noise. No, you're like, I actually don't know if you understand what I'm going through. And in that scenario, find a way of encouraging yourself in the Lord. Like, you know what? I am going to rise, and start finding small wins. Just small wins. It can even be, I have not been able to wake up for the last 4 days or 4 weeks from my bed, but today I will wake up. I will actually even make my bed, change the sheets, and sit down in the sitting room. That's a win. Tomorrow, say, I will actually get out of the house. You know, sometimes people get into depression and it is bad. You're like, that's a win already. I'm going to actually get out of the door. You know, there are days you can finish a week, you've not even seen the sun. You're like, even seeing the sun was a win. You know, those small wins. The other day, you're like, I'm even going to take a shower and go to the supermarket, get milk. As you build on small wins, I was sharing some time back, and I think yesterday I was telling you, it's sometimes even volunteering to serve. You've been stuck in a web of failure for a very long time around your life, your business, your family, and maybe you are in a community, a church community, where you can serve. Join a ministry that actually serves people. Can be cleaning the church, go arrange the chairs, clean. You see, when you see those well arranged, you know, the church before people get in, the way the seats looks neat, clean, arranged, it will somehow make you feel proud, like I've actually achieved something. Or they say when you give, you gain. And in a season of failure, feeling emotionally stuck, I have found serving as a way of sometimes helping you heal and overcome. So, number one, appreciate small wins, those tiny ones. Even if it is, I will, you know, there are people who stress it and they want to stress it with junks. So that day I made a meal. Eh? I cooked. It's a win. I didn't order pizza or chicken in or crepes. I cooked. It's a win. Like, appreciate those small wins, then find a way of serving so that you can enjoy life again, see success. I think in my book I've shared of the weight loss journey. You find it helps. So that's what I would say when it comes to unstucking yourself when you feel stuck.
Thank you. I hope it has been answered. The person who was asking on the comment section, but I like the point where you mentioned that unstucking yourself where you're stuck. Like, stop being in that entanglement of someone told you that you can't be anything. And many people are always stuck in that entanglement, either because of your family or a teacher, a lecturer. It just happens somewhere. So I think
Yeah. And
learning to.
sorry to interrupt, Josephine, but I
It's
just
okay.
remembered
Yes,
something.
please
Some of
do.
us are actually stuck in grade 3 because someone told you something at standard 3. You've
I
refused to move.
know.
Yeah.
It refused to move. Even in a high school, I think someone can just randomly tell you something small. To them, it may be out of ignorance, but to you, it goes deeper. And I think people should not let that define themselves. So I like a comment made by Doreen. One of the powerful strategies that has helped me free myself from the failures is the reframe that failure is feedback. I like that. Failure is feedback. In this frame of something doesn't go according to the plan, it means I have discovered one way not to do it. And I think small wins is a plus. I'm gonna applause to that. Thank you so much, Doreen, for that comment. Uh, to Rin, after repeated disappointments, many people always doubt themselves. Like, I have this, it didn't work out. I tried another one, it didn't work out. How do you rebuild that confidence and self belief from all these rejections, disappointments, and repeated setbacks?
Yeah. How you rebuild. How you rebuild is look back. I think I am always impressed with looking back, because I know the power it has with you moving forward. Because if you don't look back, but don't stay back, as Catherine has said, don't get stuck uko behind, but at least look back. Look back, learn as much as possible. Learn, especially the why, the what failed, the how it failed. So that now when you come to defining now your what, your why, and the how, you will define it based on the lessons that you have picked from behind. You won't stay behind, but you will dust yourself and you will try again, having looked back. So you will rebuild yourself. You will rise up knowing I have learned. I am not the same person I was yesterday who failed yesterday. No, no, no. Today, I learned something, and now I am trying again. I am not going blindly. I am not just the way I did the first PMP exam. And of course, I thought it was just something. So I didn't even, okay, I read, but I didn't even look at why I was failing. Because in my thinking, it was because I had just stamped myself. I had not read correctly. So that's why I failed the first time. So I tried the second time, I still failed. No, 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 no. Ensure that you look at the what, the why, the how. And then after that, now you come back and define your next steps. When you define your next steps, having looked back, then you'll have a very good step to go forward, to move forward, and to look to you will have a positive way of going forward. In my book, I've given an example of the lepers. I love that story of the 4 lepers. There are these guys who are just outside Samaria. They are waiting for handouts. They are lepers, so they were outside the gate. They were not even inside the gate. Inside the gate, these guys are going through famine because they have been surrounded by the Syrian army. So these guys up at the gate, they are wondering, why are we not getting food? It's because Ukondani, there is no food to give. Even the scrap is not coming. You can imagine such famine. So they decided there is an army who has surrounded these guys, but because us, we are outside here, either we will die because we don't have food, or the scraps, actually. They thought they will die because of no lacking scrap. It's not even about food. But they decided, let us go to this Syrian army down here and see what they can offer. They can decide to kill us, which is okay. They can decide to give us food, which is okay. So they chose to be bold. And I love that Liliane is here, who is a bold writer, and I know she's bold. So I know. They decided to be bold and move forward and go uko inje, and decided, if we die, we die. If not, then we will still have our scrubs. So they decided to go, and luckily, I call it luck, but we know it's the hand of God in it, that their footsteps were heightened. So the Syrian thought it was a big army that was coming for them, and so they disappeared, leaving everything, leaving the food that was there. They left the gold, everything. So these guys went, found food, they ate to their fill, and they would have decided not even go to Samaria to tell them, you know what, the Syrian army has disappeared. You guys, mumejifungia huko ndani. You can stay with your family. No, they decided to go back and tell the guys in Samaria that these guys have left and there is a lot of food that you can go and get. So they went and got food. And I believe even after food came, they remained to be still lepers, because they were still lepers. They were not healed. I don't think they were healed. The Bible doesn't say whether they were healed, but they remained to be lepers, and they remained to wait for the scrap. But now the scrap was coming, because there is food in this Samaritan kingdom, and now the scrap now can come. So they are not going to die of famine. So you can imagine that was rebuilding. They were so bold to get out there and try again. Yeah.
Fun fact, I think after failures, it has to, for you to get to find your footing here, you need to be bold. I like that, because you have to make a decision. What are you going to do here after here? And you mentioned also that you have to, you failed in your exam, and for you to figure out, like, why did I fail in this exam, you had to reflect on it and learn why did you actually fail, and figure out what to do better in your next exam, and you actually aced it. So rebuilding can also be exhausting. So, especially when motivation doesn't exist, you can try to rebuild, but the motivation is weak. So, Catherine, how do people continue showing up when motivation fades and discouragement becomes constant?
I'm sorry, I'm on mute. I'm saying at this season, what will carry you when motivation has failed is discipline. I don't know if you guys have seen, mostly in trainings, when it comes to the way coaches do to the team. Mostly, if you watch the movies, you see the American football. I think it's the one that has a lot of energy in it, or the rugby one. People are really energetic in the field. And you see the way the coach pushes the team with motivation. You can do this, you are not doing it right. But this also comes with practice. There's a discipline they have built around practice, what they eat, so that even at that time, there's something holding you. I think at this point, what will hold you, the frame, the foundation that will hold you when motivation is not there, because there are days when you don't feel like you want to wake up. It happens mostly to entrepreneurs. You know, you don't have anyone knocking your door telling you have to report at 8 and leave my office by 5, but you have to do it. It's your work, it's within your time frame, but there are timelines you have put for yourself. Even when you don't feel like you want to wake up, discipline. There's a book by James Clear, Atomic Habit. Says you don't rise to the level of your system, but you fall. Let me get it right. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. What that means, you might have set so many goals, but you're just putting yourself to failure. But systems are the one that will keep you. For example, let me be very practical in something we can relate. You're telling yourself, I need to show up at work with energy and prepared. But every day, from when you get from work, you reach your house, you don't cook immediately. I'm talking to the single people. People with children, your life will be disrupted left, center. But I'm looking for someone who lives alone, who can plan their schedule very well. instead of you reaching your house and cooking and preparing to get to bed early, you want to watch 10 episodes of a series, very interesting, up to one. Tomorrow you wake up late, not energetic, you had some work to do to prepare so that the following day you would go to work ready with a project or a time met, but you didn't because you decided to watch. What if you decide, I'm setting new goals? I want to finish my work, but still, when you come home, you continue with the same routine. You don't cook early, you just continue watching. And a weekend where you can take advantage and have 2 or 3 things covered, you do many other things that are not helping your goal. You will never achieve those goals. But if you create a system of, I sleep at this time, I wake up at this time, this is what I eat, because even what you eat matters with the energy you will have tomorrow and all that. And this is how I improve on myself. Instead of me watching, I might decide my evenings I'll read a chapter. I might decide I'll listen a podcast as I clean my house and learn something. I'll do audiobooks on my way to work instead of listening to the gengeton music on the cars and the matatus. You decide to invest on good earphones. You listen on your way to work. When you get to work, you're already, imagine you listen to John Maxwell on your way to work on leadership. I'm telling you, position yourself that day as a leader in many ways. But whatever what you had on your way to work, you know what those songs sometimes mean. Your mind will be disrupted. You can't even know what you want to do that day. So it's creating systems that will help you maintain a discipline. You want to exercise, but every day you don't put out your clothes well. So you wake up, you are just seeing one shoe, you can't see your tights, you can't see your top, and you're like, 1 hour is gone looking for them. You're like, I don't even want to go. What if before you slept, you put everything ironed out? So the moment you just wake up, the first thing you see is you are set to go to the gym. Trust you me, you will go to that gym. In that book, he says how to create good habits, remove disruptions and the enticing things that will make you fall back to habits that are not building. So when the motivation is gone, you have to build discipline and through systems. Yes.
I like that you've mentioned that you need to create systems that works for you so that you can be disciplined. Those systems needs to make you become disciplined. If you really want to improve on what you want to improve, then you create a system on what is going to work for you. That is a very encouraging takeaway. So at this point, I would love to hear from our audience as well. So what is that point or that lesson that what is that one lesson a difficult season taught you about yourself? Let's get that in our comment section. As we finish up, we'll get to read the comments as well. Let's see. Let me read some of these amazing comments. Jen Kerubo, she's appreciative of the epic, amazing discussion that we've had. She's saying that I have learned a lot. Thanks so much to Zion team and Catherine and Rene. Indeed, our book is full of nuggets. Kindly excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, we'll get more insights from people from that question that I've asked. As we begin to wrap up, I love to leave people with perspective and encouragement. So let's start with Reed. What is that one thing that you would like to people to remember about feeling feeling that moment in your life when you feel that things are falling apart?
Thank you, Josephine. And I know people are now tired. of us, but allow us to conclude. The one thing that I would like to leave here is that we all fail. I don't think there is anyone who would say that they have never failed in their lives in one way or another. We gave an example of a small thing like putting pepper in your food and causing people to drink water. But people fail. Every day you will fail. Today you will wake up, you will define your day, you will be driving okay in the road, and then there will be something that will happen, and things will fail. But I want us to remember the words that Tiger Woods said. Eventually you will win. That's what he says. It may not happen the next time. Actually, it really encourages me that it may not happen even the next time. It may take even a little bit longer, but you will win at the end. Yeah. So take time to accept that, yes, you have failed. Take time to look back, and rise again. The Bible says in Micah 7:8, it says, and I'm paraphrasing, I just want to paraphrase it, I don't want to read the whole verse. It says, I may have fallen, but I will get up. I may be sitting in the dark, but the Lord is my light. So it's because failure is the dark. You will sit in that dark, but be encouraged that you have, if especially if you're a Christian and you love God, that God has your back. He is behind you. He is taking care of you. He is not letting things take things away from you. There is a step going forward, and look at failure as a step. Look at, if you failed yesterday, look it at a step. That I failed yesterday is step one. Today I will try step two, because to you the definition of the expected outcome between you and God has the best expected outcome for you. So whatever you did yesterday, he already knew, and he had destined that to happen as it happened yesterday, and that was a step of you sowing the seed. Remember my man who is my dad, my late dad? That man planted a seed. He did not fail. If anything, he achieved much more than we could ever think or imagine. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for that insightful leave. Oh, I hope people take that win. That was really brilliant. This has been such an insightful session. Miss T, she's telling us, I will not be afraid of failing, rather be expectant of what I learn from such. Also, not to compare and create my own definition of success. I like that comment. And as Rene has said, eventually you will win. Whatever time it takes, you are going to ace it. Lily Ann, she's also leaving us with a very amazing comment. The only thing we are assured of in life is failure. What you do with that opportunity determines whether it will turn out a success one day. Love the discussion. Thank you so much, Lillian, for tuning in with us today for this amazing session. Keep the comments coming as we stream back to Catherine. Catherine, what are, if someone is listening and feels like life is currently falling apart, what will you want them to remember?
Uh, First of all, let me appreciate this session we have had. It has been a beautiful one. And me too, I have enjoyed this discussion. And if there's one thing we want all of us to remember, is there's a subtopic in the chapter that I've titled as Luxury of Failure. Like every time you're faced with a situation you feel you're failing, it's an opportunity. See it as an opportunity, and it's like a fork. It either leads you to stagnation or to growth, but the choice will always be yours. So remember that in any situations you're feeling you're failing, any, no matter which one, No matter how deep or how bad, remember you have two choices. Do I grow? Do I stagnate? Do I allow this situation to disable my life, or do I rise above? And remember, at some point, you have to encourage yourself to move. Failure is an attitude. Remember that it's an attitude, like it's how you take it. It's the angle you view it from. That is what matters at that point. How do I view this? If your view is in the wrong way, you're gonna be stuck. But if you change your perspective just a little and try to see the silver lining in that dark cloud, you will find a way of remaining positive and actually learning from that situation. And as we have had the discussion around all this, one conclusion we can say is it's not fatal. It's not the end. You will rise up. You will rise up and you will might even fail again. But what you do with that is what matters. Is it towards the path of growth, or is it towards the path of stagnation? Thank you.
I like that. I've picked that failure is like an attitude. You either make it positive or negative. That's very powerful. I still have some amazing comments streaming in. So we have one from Gadoni. She is saying, excellent session, ladies. My reminder is always that whatever happened, happened. Whatever happened is happening, will happen. You will still make it through. Amazing. And one day you will look back and realize that season did not break you, it shaped you. I like that. I like that, Gadori. Thank you very much for that amazing, amazing comment. Uh, Very insightful session. Kelly, thank you very much for joining us in. Thank you for that comment as well. As we wrap up, thank you. I would like to appreciate everyone that participated in the session. Thank you so much, Rene, Murage, and Catherine Cheche, who has been our panelists for today. You've had you've we've had a very meaningful conversation, and I wanna appreciate your knowledge of wealth here. It's very insightful. And thank you, everyone, once again for joining and participating thoughtfully in the comment section. If there's one thing I still want to comment down here as we leave and sign off, failure is not the end of the story. We have our launch happening on the 26th of June 2026 of the book When Things Go Wrong. Yes. We would love for you to be part of the official book launch happening at Trademark Hotel, Village Market. The launch will be a celebration of the book and the success and the amazing contributing authors. So for you to be part of the session, please register. We have a link down on the comment section. Find it there. And for you to get this amazing book, please also find a link. Get a copy of the When Things Go Wrong through the second link. And you can also follow our journey on LinkedIn and YouTube as well, where all our official updates and communication are posted at Zion Pearl Publishers. Thank you for joining in. That was it for today. I am your amazing moderator of the day, Josephine Chiruto. It was amazing having you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reem. Remember to invite your network. Let me introduce you once again. You can say something before you go.